Greetings, fellow explorer of consciousness. If you've ever felt a profound disconnect, a nagging sense that the person you present to the world isn't quite the real you, or if the constant search for peace and fulfillment has left you feeling more lost than found, then your journey has led you to a crucial threshold. Perhaps you've experienced the exhaustion of trying to define yourself through external labels, achievements, or relationships, only to find that the deepest longing for authenticity remains unquenched. That persistent feeling of being an outsider to your own essence. The quiet despair of not truly knowing who you are beneath the layers of conditioning and thought. This is the very pain that has guided you to this moment. You clicked on this video not by chance, but because your spirit is ready to uncover the technique that reveals the true self, Ramana Maharshi. Let this be the moment you cease the endless seeking and finally turn inward, armed with a direct and powerful method to pierce through illusion and reveal the unchanging, luminous core of your being. Prepare to discover the peace and clarity that have always resided within, waiting to be unveiled. The mind is inherently restless, constantly projecting itself outward to grasp at fleeting desires and imaginary fears that obscure the boundless tranquility of the inner core. To practice self-inquiry is to refuse to follow these mental projections, choosing instead to ask the singular, piercing question of who is perceiving whenever a thought emerges. This question is not meant to be answered with words or concepts, for any intellectual response is merely another thought woven by the deceptive intellect. It functions as a sharp sword that severs the root of the wandering mind, redirecting the vital energy back to the silent, observing presence that watches the thought. Through this relentless redirection, the practitioner gradually weakens the ingrained habit of identifying with the body and the psychological narrative, awakening to the silent watcher. In the depths of this investigation, the seeker realizes that all suffering and confusion stem solely from the phantom ego, a mere assumption that has never truly existed. When the attention is fiercely anchored to the root of the individual thought, this phantom cannot survive the light of pure awareness and begins to vanish into the heart. The process requires no special postures or external rituals, as the inquiry can be maintained amidst the activities of daily life by remaining anchored in the background of being. It is a direct path that bypasses the complex labyrinths of theology and philosophy, striking directly at the core mechanism of human ignorance and spiritual blindness. As the false identity subsides into its source, the supreme reality of the self shines forth effortlessly, revealing a state of natural perfection that was never truly lost. The illusion of individual separation is maintained entirely by the continuous stream of thoughts, which create a convincing but ultimately empty narrative of a localized person. By persistently tracing the feeling of existence back to its origin, the practitioner discovers a vast, thought-free emptiness that is paradoxically full of infinite consciousness. This emptiness is the true sanctuary, a dimension of absolute stillness, where the turbulence of the world cannot reach, and the burdens of the personal story immediately evaporate. Remaining in this quiet center is the essence of true meditation, where the effort of inquiring eventually transforms into a spontaneous, effortless abiding in the pure self. The mind, having lost its outward momentum, rests peacefully in the spiritual heart, functioning only as a pure instrument rather than a tyrannical master of awareness. The seeker must not be discouraged by the persistent return of old mental habits, for the ego has been nurtured over countless lifetimes and will resist its own dissolution with great cunning each time the attention wanders into the past or the future. The practitioner must gently but firmly grasp the feeling of existence and demand to know the entity to whom these thoughts appear. This steady, unyielding vigilance is the fire of awareness that burns away the impurities of attachment, aversion, and the deep-seated ignorance of human divine nature. The silence that follows the questioning is not an empty void, but the vibrant, living presence of the Absolute, which alone is the ultimate truth of existence. Immersion in this silence is the highest realization, dissolving the boundary between the seeker and the sought, proving that the individual is already the freedom they desperately seek. The culmination of this sacred investigation is the permanent destruction of the illusion of duality, leading to the profound recognition that only the undivided self exists. In this state of liberated awareness, the world is no longer seen as a separate, threatening reality, but as a magnificent expression of the same underlying consciousness. The actions of the body continue naturally, driven by the cosmic will, while the inner being remains eternally untouched, resting in the supreme bliss of self-realization. This is the ultimate gift of the sage's teaching, a direct invitation to step out of the prison of the mind and claim the eternal heritage of boundless peace. The practice of Atma Vichara stands as a timeless beacon for all sincere seekers, offering a definitive escape from the cycle of suffering through the simple act of self-attention. If you enjoyed this topic, I created the community, the School of Self-Investigation, a space dedicated to people who want to go beyond superficial knowledge and directly understand the true nature of consciousness. Inside the community, you will have access to deep self-inquiry practices inspired by the teachings of Ramana Maharshi, to guided meditations, exclusive ebooks, contemplative audio sessions, and weekly videos focused on inner awakening. Everything was created to help you dissolve identification with the mind, clearly understand the ego, and recognize the silent presence that has always been observing everything. Many people spend years searching for answers outside themselves without realizing that truth exists beyond thought. Here, you will learn a more direct, deep, and practical path to self-realization. If you feel that something within you is ready to awaken, the link is in the pinned comments.